Right, this one's for Dale still on a catch-up. I'm recording it with a microphone. Got a microphone, look at that. Technology. Because I managed to park my truck in, where are we now at the moment? South Mims. And I parked it next to a fridge lorry. Well, just a fridge trailer. And it keeps going, brrr. Anyway, that's not important. Right, so he asked a question. He says, what if you get sent in to pick up 2 pallets and there's 4? But weight isn't an issue and space isn't an issue. It's a good question. And I'm going to answer this question by giving you a couple of examples. Now, I've been going mental this week. I picked up on Saturday at Hemel Hempstead, and then I had my 24-hour break. Then I drove to Newcastle on Sunday, and then tipped Newcastle at the Metro Centre on Monday morning. Then I had to go from Sunderland to Glasgow, where I fetched a load of shop fittings. I had to pick them up, drop them in Glasgow, and then I got my next job, which is picking up the next morning, going from Carlisle down to Derby way. And then I got Derby, so I got Derby going over to Dartford this morning. That's how I finished. But when I got to Derby, first thing in the morning, now I was booked on a 7.5 tonne. The job was a 7.5 tonne job. They know I'm an 18 tonne because as soon as I bid on the job, it comes through as an 18 tonne. And it was 3 pallets. And I got there and they went, no, it's 4. They've added 1 on. Now, at this point, I'm thinking, well, the 3 pallets were 2,100 kilos, so the 4 pallets with a little bit of extra is kicking up towards the 3,000 kilos. Not a problem for me in the 18 tonne, but I could, within my rights, ring the shipper now and go, this is no longer a 7.5 tonne job. This is an 18 tonne job. I want more money. But, as I said, I've been here, there and everywhere. I struggle to get a job out of Scotland anyway, I normally do, and I couldn't be bothered. So I thought, I've got the space, no aggravation, stick it on. Then when I got to the other side, it was a narrow driveway over in Derby. It was a real pain to get. I had to get a woman to move her car twice. But we got it down there, got it off, again, no problem. Then the shipper rings me saying that the customer's got the needle because he booked it on a 7.5 tonne. And it wouldn't go down the driveway because the tree was going across the driveway. And if it had come on a 7.5 tonne, then it would have been fine. I said, there's 3 things with that. Firstly, if it had come on a 7.5 tonne, it would have been overweight because your customer added a pallet on. Secondly, the bough of the tree will not stop a 7. I have had 7.5 tonnes on my fleet, which are actually taller than some of my 18 tonnes. So there's no guarantee. If the customer needs, if the vehicle needs to be under 11 foot, say a vehicle under 11 foot. Don't specify the weight and think that's going to do it. And thirdly, the main reason that it took so long to get this stuff off is because they was on American pallets. Now American pallets have got closed ended. So you can't get the pallet, well, they can be forked on the side, but if they're forked on the side, you can't get the pallet truck underneath them. Normal pallets, ones we all know and love, you can get from the front, the back and the sides. American pallets, you can only get from the front and back, otherwise there's a plank of wood there. So, and I said, you can tell your customer that he's way out on that one. And then I also turned around and went, by the way, the weight was over, and also, that to get it off, we had to handball it, we had to break it all down. I said, look, I've been here for an hour. I don't normally ask, but it was really bad aggravation. If there's any more money on the job, wouldn't mind. And she looked at the job and she said, I'm ever so sorry, there's not. We're only making 25 quid. I said, fine, don't worry. They get an hour free anyway. And it was taking me home. I just tipped Carlisle and I picked another one up in Derby, which is one I dropped this morning. So in that instance, had I phoned in and gone, you pay me to do one job and you've done another, you've sold me one thing, delivered another, I wouldn't have got any more money anyway. So the fact I couldn't be bothered to ring would have made no difference. Now, my mate Luke recently had one, and it's kind of a different scenario in the fact that he went in, he's in a Luton, and he's looking at the miles and all that kind of stuff. It was like 100 miles, so I'm going to quote a medium wheelbase money, so I think he quoted them 70, 80p a mile, something like that. They've gone, fine, lovely, sent the job through. He's turned up, when he's got there, it's a pallet, 1.8 metres high. And he's like, there's no way this is going on a medium wheelbase. Might have been 3 pallets, I don't even know. So they've booked the wrong vehicle. So he's rung the shipper, and he's gone, here's the scenario. You sent me in on a medium wheelbase job. This is not a medium wheelbase. This is definitely a Luton job. So now you're in luck, because I'm in a Luton and I can still do it, but it's going to cost you a Luton money. You don't get 80p a mile, it's 110, 120 a mile. And the shipper looked at it and he went, yeah, fine, no problem, we'll sort it. So it depends. It depends on how you feel at the time. I was tired. I've been running for 2 days. If I, you know, and I was happy just to take that, like I said, I struggled to get out of Scotland anyway. I was happy to take that job. If it had been an 18 tonne, I thought I probably still would have done it for the same money, not a problem. It depends if you can get it on. You don't want it to come back and bite you. You don't, because the thing you could do is if you ring the shipper and go, it's supposed to be 2 pallets, it's 4. The shipper might turn around and go, oh, good, because they're only paying for 2. So I'm going to ring them up and go, it's going to cost them more money, and I'll give you more money. I always think in times like this, it's worth a phone call. But you know, I've said this before. If you're handballing and the handballing is going to take you, I think once again happened to Luke recently. It should have been 20 minutes. It took him an hour. He said, but I was hanging around. I couldn't be bothered to phone him. I said, ring them and tell them that. Ring them and go, look. I know I'm supposed to ring beforehand, but I didn't want to ring in front of the customer. It's very unprofessional. I've been on site for an hour. It should have been 20 minutes. Chuck me a tenner, I'm happy, and the bloke went fine. So he got £10 for a phone call. That's not a bad phone call. So you have to weigh it up yourself. If you have to decide whether you take the extra goods free of charge and don't even tell the shipper because you can't be bothered to ring them, or ring them and go, look, it's extra goods, I wouldn't mind a bit of money. And if they turn around and say there is no money, then you decide. Because what you're within your rights to do, if the booking comes through and it's 2 pallets and you ring the shipper and the shipper turns around and says, I go, there's 4 pallets, and he goes, well, they'll fit on anyway. You can go, well, yeah, they will fit on anyway, but I've priced you for 2 pallets, so how about I'll just take the 2 pallets that I've got to take and you send another van in. Situations like that, however, are probably just going to give the shipper the needle. So you want to create a good working relationship. So I think give and take. I say this all the way along about the exchange. I wish I could just give you a graph of if you're here at this time and this load you paid and all this kind of stuff. It's not. An awful lot of it is all down to you personally. Communication is the key. Always be polite. You can ring them up and say, explain the situation in a polite manner. Ask the question. I always say ask the question. I'll say yes or no. So I know that's a little bit vague, but I try to fit it in with a couple of examples, and you kind of get the hang of it as you go along, you know. So, but I think if you're in doubt and you think you can get an extra couple of quid out of it, it's worth the phone call. But you politely explain what has gone on. They'll say yes or no. All things to help you take care and take money.